By the time I got around to start hiking back on the trail here, he had already released and landed another one. So I punched him in the face and took his flies. Oh, actually, no, that was a different story. All right, hey, this is Curtis Fry. I'm hanging out with the Fulling Mill guys today, and we are on the Green River in Utah. If you've never fished it, you need to. Mid-April, lots of bugs out, little windy. We are hoping to get some dry fly eats. If not, we will try something else. But Green River, if you've never been here before, it's known for some really good dry fly action. It's known for the cicadas that happen later in May and June in the summer. But we are after the blue-winged olives, the Baetis, the olive mayflies, whatever you want to call them. They are hopefully going off today, and we will catch some fish with them. We are here on the Green River in Utah. Mid-April, which, if you've ever fished here before, means Baetis, or blue-winged olives, or BWOs, as the pros say. Hatch has just started to go. We've had a couple come up, but I'm sticking to a little shallow indicator rig, small indicator, a couple of Baetis emergers. I've got an Aerobaetis and a thread Frenchie. We call it the holographic thread Frenchie, and I spooked a fish. So strong work, Curtis. Anyway, they have started to rise a little bit more consistently, so I'm just going to work the fish that are not quite rising yet. And I've caught a few, and they're starting to get a little closer to the surface. So the idea here, we're not kind of a traditional nymph setup. It's suspended. The fish are anywhere from a foot to 3-4 feet down. You do not want to bounce the bottom right now. And so we're just kind of working our way up the water column in terms of the fish, focusing on the bugs. Complicating it is a little bit of wind. So that's going to put them down, blows the bugs around. But there are good, there we go. Good numbers of fish, for sure. Little spunky little guy. So yeah, that one took the Aerobaetis, which is the point fly. The dropper is that holographic thread Frenchie. Parallel to shore. Going to grab my net. And again, the idea here is that you know what the fish are eating. They're eating Baetis. Tons of fish in here. So we're seeing a few risers. Ergo, most fish are eating right below the surface or in that zone. At least to fooled this guy. Oh. He decided to take a break here. Come on, bud. Oh, he's decided to go back. Not a giant fish, maybe 14, 15, somewhere in there. No, 14, 13. There we go. Beautiful little brownie. The Aerobaetis right in the kisser, where it should be. All right, got that little Aerobaetis out of his mouth. Give him a drink. So the Aerobaetis is obviously, as the name states, a good little Baetis nymph. That fly I actually started developing during my college years when I fished on the green here quite a bit. And so it's meant to be an emerger, so it's got some flash in it so you can see the bug as it starts to emerge. It's just a good attractor, kind of Baetis-y thing, not super techy, and it's heavy for its size. Anyway, worked all right for this little brown trout, green river, brown trout. You gotta love it. All right, just because I'm not a psycho, I know there's fish rising, so I'm gonna have to give in, and Dom has convinced me that I need to put together a dry fly rod and catch fish on a freaking dry fly. So Dom has one of my favorite patterns on. This is a David McPhail CDC Quill. Only thing is, when I fish, especially water like this where it's got a little bit of chop and some movement, I tie these on my own and I use probably 3 times the amount of CDC. This will work great, but I'll just swap it out for one that's going to be bushier. Number one, I'm getting old. It happens to everybody. My eyes are not great, so anything I can use to be able to see that fly is going to be an advantage to me. So it's the same overall idea. I love CDC as a flotation device, and we've got enough fish rising in here. You need something that's going to be land softly, float naturally. CDC has great, like it'll skitter. It is less inclined to get all gunked up if you keep it clean. So we're going to switch over and give that a whirl. We are back with a vengeance. Lots of fish, there we go. Kind of working my way from the back forward. Well, we're going to have to go for that guy. Oh yeah, there he is. Okay, buddy. Okay, buddy. Eat it, buddy. Oh. I got a little trigger happy. All right. Eat it. I'm going to slide a little bit out, get a better angle at a couple of these fish. Lots of naturals, lots of fish. Can be a chore to see it. Oh my, missed that one. That was on me. Oh boy, that was a nice fish. He's literally 20 feet in front of me. All right, we're gonna check the fly just in case here. If you've never used the strumming the guitar to dry your CDC flies, you're missing out. A little bit of that and some Loxa, and you're ready to go. Wow, that wind is doing a job. Wow. All right, that's a good drift. Eat it. Ooh, had a looker. Wow. jerk right in front of me just thinks, oh, I'll just come up and eat off the surface and not eat your fly. That's rude, really. Okay, buddy, it's all you. All right, one of the challenges with this, where we've got a wind right coming into our face, I've got a longer leader, 12-ish feet, and that's gonna get some blowback like that. Line ends up way up there and the fly's way back here. So in that scenario, sometimes what I'll do is switch to like a heavier line taper that can just punch through the wind. I'm gonna hold off on switching lines just yet. So, you know, these fish are not extremely tippet shy, so I'm good with some 5X. Could go, oh, see, I put my rod hand or my stripping hand down and get a hit. So I might look at, because of the way the wind's blowing the fly back, you need to adjust their cast and kind of gauge where, like that one, the end of the line is right on top of the fish. The fly end's about 6 feet over and down. So I've got to compensate for that and go about 12 feet further up. But I cannot see the fly at that point because it's so choppy. And there's some naturals. Woo. So it's basically spray and pray. Oh, that was a refusal. One other option, I'll just cast up quite a bit further than I need. And then once it's kind of in the zone, be on the lookout for the fish that's in that diameter. And then with these CDC flies especially, you kind of have to at least cast it a couple times in an area where you can see if it's floating. Because if it's not, you may as well switch up. Or at least treat it. This little fly dry trick will work with rubber bands, Spanflex, but this one works pretty good. This just gets all the water out of the CDC fibers and makes it primed for a floatant, which in this case is Loon Loxa, my favorite for CDC. We'll just jam some down into the fibers. Not enough to mat them down, but enough at least to make it float. We'll do a little pre-flight float check. We are in business. This Helios, the new Helios 5-weight, which is what this is next level. Light, super responsive, peppy. Okay. That fish got a little spooked because I cast when he rose. But again, we're just gonna cast well above and to the right so it goes on the left. And that fly is now floating right down into that fish's eating lane, but he didn't eat it. What the nerve of that fish. Okay, so just doing the same thing, a little higher than we need. Wind blows it back. Now we're in a good drift, get some slack off surface. That is right into his face. Rejected. And true to form, he rises. So now we'll do, I gave a couple of false casts extra. So that time, by the time he's floating back this way, it's going to be time for that fish to look up and swim right up there and put it in his mouth and eat it. Nope. And there's the one here, and then I just saw another one rise right out from it. Oh yeah. That was just a little McPhail CDC. That was literally half a second, not even that. That was within milliseconds of drag running out, or the drift running out. Oh, dude. Sean tells me I can really taco this thing and it's not going to do anything. All right. About there. And that is a dry fly fish on the green. All right, back at it with a refreshed fly, floats nice and high. So like I mentioned, we're mid-April here on the green, which if you ever want to target a good time to fish it, April's not bad. Lots of Baetis. There are so many fish in this river, it's ridiculous. So we are in what's called the A section, which is the first 7 miles below Flaming Gorge Dam. It's all very accessible on the hiking side, which is the side we're on. We normally float it, but it's always good to come out and just fish it like this. You know, you really can come here year round. Fishing slows a bit in the winter. Ooh, there we go. But the fish still will eat. My favorite time of the year is probably now. The summer is a lot of fun. You've got cicadas, which is green is very well known for. In the summer, you've also got really good terrestrial action, ants, beetles, hoppers, crickets, and lots of caddisflies, sallies, kind of your typical summer tailwater bugs. And it also fishes really great with streamers. So whether you've got a boat or your own 2 legs, get over here. Lots of good guide services on the river. We usually recommend Spinner Fall. Old Mo's another one. These are guides that have been on this river for ages. Great place, like second to none. Like I said, my Aerobaetis kind of got its first exposure on the green. The Foamerger, which is another fly I have through Fulling Mill, was born literally right here. And the first time I ever fished it on the green was just literally 100 feet from where I'm standing here. So, I mean, literally 100 feet up river was where I had first been fishing on a day. It was in the winter, so it was January, but right in this section. This section's really popular on the dry fly side of things, but it was a January day, lots of fish rising for midges up in this area up above me, and I was getting no love. I was fishing Griffith's gnat, or I don't know what else. This was before I became educated by the fish on midges. Anywho, I fished for 3 hours right off the point there, caught 1 fish. As I was leaving, I just started to get ready to leave. A dude walks up just right up above, on the other side, so it wasn't like he was jamming me out of my spot. He walks up, first cast, nails a fish. I'm like, what the? Beginner's luck. By the time I got around to start hiking back on the trail here, he had already released and landed another one. So I punched him in the face and took his flies. Oh, actually, no, that was a different story. I was asking him what he was using, and as near as I could tell, the way he explained it, it was kind of like a palomino midge. And so I went back to my tying den and started working on patterns that would allow for that vertical orientation of the fly, of a midge as it ascends from being pupating to becoming a full-fledged adult. And so the way I worked it out is the way the Foamerger is today, and that's a big chunk of foam at the eye of the hook, and then a little shuck, and really nothing else. Put some dubbing in there sometimes, and maybe some wing buds. But at the end of the day, super simple pattern. I worked on that pattern for a couple weeks on the Provo River before I came back here, a week or two, I don't remember, but it was relatively soon after that. And I literally mopped up the floor with these with this fly. The Foamerger was, I lost track of the fish. I think I stopped counting at 50. And that was let's say a week after a day of 3 hours, one fish, to going to 50 fish in even less time. And the whole idea there of that fly was just that vertical orientation of the fly. And the fish really key on it to this day. But we're fishing Baetis right now, so even though the Foamerger would work, we're gonna stick with this CDC. What's happening right now is tons of naturals. There's a lot more naturals, which is creating competition for my expertly tied McPhail CDC Dun. So not a surprise that I'm not catching them as quick, but we'll keep her going. There's just so many naturals right now, and the fish are getting pretty finicky. They've kind of stopped rising as consistently, so it's probably time to go back subsurface. You guarantee there are a ton of fish in here. We just got to find out where in the water column they are.